Hey there, and welcome back again to YAS, a stripper podcast. On this podcast, we'll discuss how classifying each other as people and workers is dangerous to society and marginalized groups of people. We'll also talk about the climate in and outside of the strip clubs and all of the amazing things that strippers do. And of course, we'll talk about all of the things in between. I'm your queen, A.M. Davies, and this is YAS, a stripper podcast. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of YAS, a stripper podcast. Today's format is very different. We decided to have strippers call in from all over the world. We have mostly American strippers, but also from the UK and from Canada as well. And the reason I wanted to do a podcast this way, an episode this way, is because I really wanted to hear other people's voices and get a real idea of what's going on with them. And I just wanted to listen. And I was telling somebody the other day about how throughout this journey that I've been on, which is being an advocate for strippers, that I had to learn over time how to truly listen. And I thought I was a good listener for a long time. And it kind of just dawned on me overnight one day that I wasn't really truly listening to what strippers want or what they're going through. I had learned all this new information and I was just spitting it back at them as information that they needed to know. And it was the only information they needed to know. And it was the right information. And I didn't take the time to sit back and think of their perspectives or their individual experiences. And so that's why we're having this format today. Basically, so I can shut the fuck up as much as possible, which is really hard for me to do, and just listen to what's going on in their world. Because quite frankly, I spend a lot of my time being very angry at club managers and owners, but there are people out there that are at least trying to do the right thing. And I think that I need to be reminded that people are people, and in every industry and in every part of life, there are people who do things that you really like and appreciate and people who do things that you don't. And the strip club industry is no different. It's made up of people. And it's how people choose to be, not about how owners or employers of strip clubs choose to be. It's how those people choose to be. And that's what the real crux of all of this is. It's determining who's helping and who's hurting, and to create a dialogue around that so we can all learn and figure out how to support each other, because this is going to take a lifetime to reform this industry and create happiness and abundance around it. So we're not doing 4-for-1 today. We're not doing stripper tips. We are just listening to these amazing dancers tell their stories and to connect with them. So I hope you enjoy. Hi, everyone. We have our next caller on the line. We have Victoria with us. Hello, Victoria.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for calling in. Can you please let our audience know where you're calling from?
Yeah, so I'm calling in from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nice. So
Yeah.
do you work in Nevada as well, in Vegas?
Yeah, so I'm a dancer in Las Vegas and I cam as well, but I'm mostly dance.
Okay, great. So how long have you been a stripper for?
I began in 2017. It was kind of on and off spotty there. And then I quit for quite a while and then I restarted 2019 and worked until I was way too pregnant.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually really glad to be talking to a dancer from Las Vegas. Do you have any friends that tried to file for unemployment out there?
No, they didn't, is what I know some girls started doing is they had other options. So they either lived with family or they went to go see family or they just started camming so they didn't have to file for unemployment.
Because they found other means of making money.
Pretty much.
Does that money serve them? Like, is it enough?
Yes,
Okay.
it's enough. And that's kind of, I guess that's maybe like a good thing and maybe kind of a little bit of a bad in a way too, you know what I mean? Like good thing that they were able to kind of jump to that side. It was able to support them and, you know, take care of their bills and everything. But I'm sure there's a lot of other girls out there that I did work with as well that didn't have that as an option that really only survived as
Sure.
pain. Yeah.
The only way to survive is what?
they were only surviving from dancing, Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked in clubs in Vegas for a little while. I worked at the Spearmint Rhino for a few years, and I worked at
Yeah.
Sapphire for like 6 months. And you know, it's a whole different thing than dancing in California or anywhere else, quite honestly. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, were you working at the big ones? I mean,
Yeah,
they're all,
so it's funny. I did start out at Spearmint Rhino too. It was a funny experience, but over time, yeah, I ended up at a different club. Tried some other ones in between Sapphire as well.
yeah,
But you're right, it's so different here. Like, is
yeah.
what I hear other people that they say is they get a lot of money like on stage, or they kind of like expect Vegas to be a little bit different. But I don't know if you agree too, but it's the hustle here is just so different.
Oh, 100%. I agree. It's so different. And what I experienced when I was in Vegas was there was 200 girls on a shift at once. And then the following year there was 300, and I was like, oh, okay, this is getting ridiculous. And then one night
Yeah.
I went to work and it was 400, and I was like, peace. I'm going somewhere else. I
You're not
cannot
even gonna be
see
seen at that point. Oh my
399 girls.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the one that I ended up with, my home club, let's say, I saw, like on my first night, I was kind of being a little nosy. I saw in the corner that it said there's a max at 80 girls. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be my new place.
Yeah, yeah. So do you feel overall working in Vegas, do you feel supported by your employers, that you're treated well, and that do you understand your rights as a worker? All
Yeah,
that.
so I definitely like take the time to understand my rights regardless of the club that I work at, because unfortunately, Vegas is kind of, there's a lot of clubs here, and just like a lot of places around the world, there are some where the managers definitely don't care. um, you know how that story goes. They can be very un for the dancer. They definitely don't defend the dancers when
Yeah.
things happen. But my home club, they're pretty good. I do feel safe. I feel protected. I feel more like they want to do more for us than they even want to do for the customer. They're so willing. I'm sure there's going to be people that recognize me and know what club I'm talking about after this. But yes, the bouncers there, like, it's almost like they're willing to lose business for us.
That's great to hear. It's so interesting doing these calls because, okay, like when I worked at the Rhino, the manager there was a completely horrendous boss. His name is John Cristal, and he was
That's
just
the one that hired me. Yeah, he was an asshole. Sorry.
oh, he was awful, and I don't care who knows it. He treated a lot of the dancers very poorly, specifically me very poorly. It was like I was like he told the bouncers never to call my name to VIP. Like he thought I was a spy. It was very strange, and these are all facts. This is not, literally these are words that he said to me. So I'm not like
Oh my
come
gosh.
off as gossiping, but
No.
my point isn't of what he said to me. Like I could care less. It's the overall mentality of
Right.
the workers there that I experienced. It was very much like what you see in the movies, unfortunately.
Yeah,
That was one
definitely. I can agree with
example.
that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was one, because usually when I see stripping in movies, I'm like, it's not fucking like that. You're getting it wrong. And then but then there is that asshole manager. I'm like, well, that one's right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So I was very happy to conclude my time there.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand. So but you're doing well. You have a partner, you feel like how are you surviving overall with all of this?
So, I mean, it's hard, mental health wise. It's, you got to find things kind of like with dancing, you got to find things that keep your spirits up, that keep you active and everything.
Yeah.
But I've been still camming a little bit, mostly doing custom shows or custom content, things like that. But yeah, like you said, for the most part, I do have a partner that helps out a lot with our situation. So
Mhm.
it's a little different, but we are very much so waiting for it to be over. I emailed my club, like, hey, when are you guys opening? So I'm
Yeah.
eager to get back on stage.
Well, did they answer you?
Yeah, yeah, he answered me pretty quickly. He seemed a little frantic. Sorry if you see this too, but yeah, I can tell that there's definitely some stress probably going on at the club.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And so the other clubs that you're on the roster for, did you hear anything from them about like them closing down or what your options are as a worker
They did not communicate at all.
at all?
No, they didn't reach out to anybody from yeah, no, and I was pretty active at that club. No, they didn't reach out to anybody. It was kind of, if you call, you find out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess how would they, right? Like, let's think about it. If there's 400 dancers, and this was back in 2004, 5, 6, 6, 2005, 6, and there was like 400 dancers on the roster. So imagine how many there are now. And that was just on one night. And so they
Yeah,
probably have like 5,000 dancers or more on their roster, right?
could
And
be.
so
Yeah,
like create a mailing list, like how would they, now that I think about it, how
that's what I
would
mean.
have
They take
they
so much
learned?
information.
Yeah, or maybe just like maybe they could, did they post it on their Instagram? Did they put it on their website? No.
No, because I think is what happened was, at first, I think when our governor said that businesses should close, there was quite a few places that still stayed open. And then the next time that our governor had said something, it was, no, you must close. So I'm not sure if you saw, but even Little Darlings here, like they were probably the last club that was pushing being open. And they were only able to get away with that because they had like a distance, you know?
Yeah,
So
don't get me started on Little Darlings. They advertise, whew, I'm getting hot. They they were advertising that they were having hand sanitizing wrestling. Do you understand?
yeah, yeah,
Pools of hand sanitizer and making strippers wrestle in them.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Horrid. Also, they filed a lawsuit against the administration for discrimination for the exclusion of sex worker owned businesses, which I'm on board with that. But yeah, they're a huge offender, and I was very
Yes.
disappointed to read what I read about what they were choosing to do.
Yeah. Me and my husband even drove around. I was like, I want to see if they're really open. I don't know. And I just thought, yeah, they need to close. Like, because this isn't fair. Like all the other clubs had to close. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Mhm.
I saw one girl walk in. You know, she didn't even look like she wanted to be there.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much. This has been an excellent call in. I really appreciate you taking the
If
time.
you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at yesastripperpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at yesastripperpodcast. And you can catch the show on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, anywhere that you can find podcasts. We hope you tune in next week. I've been your host, A.M. Davies. See you soon.